Hey, happy
Hey.
Friday, everyone. Welcome into another edition of Titan Talk. I'm Isaiah. Kilgun is with me, and today we have the amazing Emma from the UI team join us today because we're going to be talking about some of the UI design process, maybe talk about a little bit of the features that we've been thinking about on the UI side, go in depth on one of the bigger UI features that launched, last week? This week?
Monday?
Monday?
I think
Gosh.
Monday, yeah.
The time just is like noodle soup in my head, how fast we move. But yeah, God Builder, we're going to go a little bit in depth on how the God Builder was created just because it was such a community requested feature and we've been getting a lot of good feedback on it. But before we get into that, we did want to talk about some hotfix stuff because we had a hotfix go live yesterday, and then Kilgun has got some notes on a balance hotfix that is in the pipeline.
Yes.
So I'm going to bring up the handy dandy laptop first, and I will talk about all the bug fixes that went live in our hotfix yesterday, the 24th. So we fixed an issue where Chalk's mana could become infinite, which is a fun one, but maybe not fun for the enemy team facing that Chalk.
Infinite mana. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder what the bug was.
Kali can no longer be killed during her ultimate. I know that it was a super feels bad moment, so that one has been fixed up. We fixed a crash related to Kali's death immunity.
I believe that was when it stacked with another death immunity. So if you had Bari and Kali in the same game and you got double death immunity, then you just would. It was too much death immunity. It was like it didn't work. So
Yeah. And then the next one, a constant topic on Titan Talk for the past week or so, we fixed those pesky controller vibration issues.
yes. We finally got. This is not me blaming chat at all, but we got a report that finally led to what the source of the issue was, and our programs were able to track it down and get it fixed. So I am glad that that should be back on for everybody, and I'm sorry that it was off for 2.5 weeks or whatever.
We added a bind for gamepad players to pin and favorite builds in the God Builder. We fixed an issue where the piercing effect from Totem of Death was not working on the practice dummies or the totem in practice. And then last but not least, Bloodforge and Bloodbound Book now use that proper 25% reduction whenever you get a God kill, reducing that item's cooldown if it is on cooldown.
Yeah, I think it was accidentally 75%. So we had flipped the numbers.
It was real good.
It was a little too good. So that should be a little bit more under control now.
Cool. All right.
And then
that is everything for hot fixes. Kilgun, talk to us about balance.
Hot off the presses from Clumsy, I have the next round of balance hotfixes that's going to be coming. They wanted to go out today with this, but I think it sounds like that is not going to happen. And is much more likely Monday. But these are the things that they're aware of and they are working on fixing from the design balance standpoint. So number one, Lernian Bow. The projectiles fired from this item can no longer go through walls. I guess they felt like that was just a little bit too much for it. Sundering Arc, decreasing the damage dealt to gods from 25 plus 4 per level to 20 plus 3 per level. So a little bit less up front and a little bit less, as you level up. Poseidon, there is going to be a shift to the aspect of the trident, decreasing the focused side waves damage, scaling from 20 to 60 to 5 to 25. So that is a heavy nerf to aspect Poseidon, I would say. But he was doing a lot.
Performing really well. I got a lot of feedback that he was a little bit too good at split pushing too. So they should definitely put Poseidon a little bit back down in line.
Princess Bari has been especially effective since the latest round of item adjustments. We wanted to tone down the side of her that looks to be overperforming, which is crit and strength focus, while helping with her less successful builds, hybrid and especially intelligence. Her Mystic Surge passive, the attack speed is decreasing from 10 to 40% to 10 to 30%, so 10% less attack speed at max rank. The Sacred Bell, the landing strength scaling and rolling strength scaling are going down from 80% to 65%, while the landing intelligence scaling and rolling intelligence scaling are going up from 65 to 75%. So much better intelligence scaling, much worse strength scaling. And Reverent Steps, decreasing strength scaling from 110% to 95%, increasing intelligence scaling from 40% to 55%. And lastly, Kali, her Lash, the intelligence scaling is going to be decreased from 30 to 25%, and the bleed from 15 to 10%. So it should still do a lot of damage, just not quite as much as it's doing right now. That bleed is, it hurts.
Oh yeah, it does a lot of damage.
And the Incense, the heal intelligence scaling is going to go down from 10% to 7% per stack.
Cool.
So if you get them stacked up, it's still going to deal a lot of damage, but just maybe not quite as much. I think in Kali will still be very strong. I think it just will not be quite as oppressive as it can be right now. So that's all going to be in the next balance hotfix. Most likely Monday is my guess. Maybe Tuesday morning, but most likely Monday. But probably not today because we're just a little bit late in the day to get that rolled out.
Sweet. I think that was all that we had on the hotfix stuff. We did want to talk about the Easter event, just because we know that we've had a lot of people with bug reports and things like that around the event not getting progress. So a couple items on the Easter event.
Yes.
We are aware that lots of players have been having issues progressing, so we have decided to extend that event until May 4th, I believe, is so it's about an extra week to get your progress.
Yeah. So if you still have a few last things to wrap up on that quest, you got a little bit of extra time. So that should be better. We also are going to be changing some text to be clearer about certain things. Do you have that?
Yes. So the first one is we're going to be adding some text. We have found a lot of players getting or reporting that they're just not getting progress at all. We think we've nailed that down to just needing a relog. So we're going to be adding that text to the event page. Hey, if you're not seeing yourself getting progress on any of these quests, try relogging your client and then logging back in and then trying again to progress. And then specifically around the Vortex quest.
Yeah.
There's an issue with Poseidon and Kabrakan not progressing that quest. We're aware of it. We're not quite sure if we're going to be able to get that fixed in time for the May 4th end. So we're encouraging players to kind of shift over to either using Hades or investing in that Eye of the Storm active item to get that Vortex quest completed.
Yeah. So basically just don't use those two and it'll be good. So sorry about that. But we are also kind of, I would say like the way that we set up events is changing going forward, as I understand it.
Yes, a little bit.
So hopefully we won't run into these issues in the future. So we apologize, but hopefully with a little extra time and with some more clarification, it'll be better.
Yep.
So
absolutely. Well, I think that was everything that I had.
I have one more thing.
Oh, let's talk about it.
Can you pull this up?
I'll pull it up. Yeah.
Okay. Some of you on Reddit today may have seen one of the greatest trolls in the history of trolling us.
It was pretty hilarious.
It was pretty good. Captain Chrono, who is a notorious Tiamat enjoyer, posted this video.
It's really good.
Saying, I think a god accidentally turned on early. This looks so real that we were asking around the office this morning being like, was somebody working on this? Did we do something wrong to turn this on? This is 100% a fake.
Yes.
But it is such a good fake that we wanted to like call it out and be like, dude, props for making this fake happen because it looks so good. And if you were tricked by this fake, please know that
we were tricked too.
We were tricked too. Yeah. It was like, I reached out to a couple different departments even. I was like, we didn't just like put the model in the game and maybe the model came up and he put in the text. No, the model's not in the game. There's no design work that's been like Tiamat's still a ways out. Sorry guys. But I just thought that it was such an amazing fake that like we had to bring it up and talk about it at least for a second.
Hilarious. So. Shout outs to the attempted manifest, but yes, unfortunately that is not real. So
anyway, that was my last thing I wanted to talk about before we get into UI stuff. Just because I guess it's kind of a UI thing.
Yeah,
it's a UI fake. I don't know. But yeah, Emma, I don't know, how do we want to get started?
Yeah, let's go ahead and get into our UI discussion. We've got Emma on to talk about kind of the UI design process. And I think a good place for us to start is, Emma, you've been on the team for a long time. So I would love for you to just, introduce yourself to chat and let everyone know kind of what your role is and what you do on a day-to-day basis and kind of how your history here on the Titanforge team.
Yeah, so hi, I'm Emma. I am lead UI designer on Smite. I've been on high-res probably like 8 years, on Smite maybe like 7-ish or so. I think my days vary a lot. I would say have like 3 kind of days.
Yeah.
There's the easy days when we're doing just like art and polish and just like changing colors and aligning stuff. Those are very fun. Then we have more like active development days when we're just like designing features as a team and building all those new things, and then I would say we have patch days.
Oh yeah, patch days are fun for everyone, right?
It's fun, the word. I don't, it's,
Where everything that was just fine the day before, now it's not working.
It's kind of interesting how often like something that is working in dev or on PTS, like just the change of environments causes something to break, or players using something a little bit differently than anybody has used it before leads to this edge case that we didn't notice. Like how do you guys think about that? How do you approach the like weird stuff that comes up on patch days?
Honestly, we don't think about how it happened anymore, because they just come out of nowhere. But I think those first couple of days right after the patch is when we are like, okay, this is everything that came in. What's like the worst of it? What's like really, really critical that we need to fix right now? And then we try to tackle those for the first 1 or 2 days. And then we can be like, okay, we can just take the rest and just like do them through the week, or maybe on future patches, but it's not so bad. But there's always something.
Yeah. If you could move the mic just a little bit closer. I turned up your volume too, so hopefully
Good.
chat is...
Is that better?
Chat. Yeah, say something. Just like, hello, testing. 1, 2, 3.
Hello, testing.
Is that much better? Much better. Okay,
Better?
chat is happy.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
good.
It's always like weird how close the microphone needs to be.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like every time somebody comes on, we got to like prep people better. But like,
Oh, yeah, for sure,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
it's like it's got to be like in your face. So that's one thing that we didn't talk about. But yeah. Awesome. So yeah. What,
Yeah, I think
go
we
for
can
it.
kind of kick things off with. I know one of the questions that a lot of the devs that come on Titan for our Titan Talk, one of the first things that we like to ask them is just like, you've been working on the Smite franchise for a long time. Talk to us a little bit about how the transition to UE5 from UE3 is, and what's it like not having to work in Flash anymore, Emma?
Oh, that's amazing. I don't miss Flash any day. It was very stressful that there was not, at least for me, on the design side, we didn't have a lot of control for what was going on in the UI files, because most of the UI was driven by programming. So even if I try to go into Flash and be like, oh, that white text is not legible, I need to make it darker, I would do it. And then it was this whole process, like you had to publish your Flash into a Swift file and then put that in the engine and then run a local build and then to see that the font didn't change. So that was really stressful. And then programming team would be like, oh yeah, we're overriding all the colors through code. I'm like, wow. So that was the worst part of it. I think just not being able to do a lot. And now in UE5, we have everything inside the editor. We're not building our UI separately. So we can adjust anything. We can move things. I can add new text. I didn't realize how much power that is.
Yeah.
With great power comes great responsibility.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like on Flash, I would add a text about maybe explaining things about the Easter
Like an event or
event.
something, yeah.
And then it wouldn't show up. It's like, well, yeah, because we need through code to pull that text into the database so that it can show. Just like, I just need to add a line.
Yeah, let me do it. I just need one sentence to be added.
Yeah, it's more like kind of like what you see is what you get now, where you can actually like
Yes.
do it and know in real time what it's going to end up looking like.
Yeah, you have this like play button and it's almost real time. You can adjust things, you
That's
can
cool.
see them. So it just makes things go way faster as well. We can just do a lot more polish and clean up just a couple of days.
And it's also like, I remember, and I don't know for sure, so I might be throwing this off here, but I remember like in Smite 1, the UI ran at a really low frame rate because it was Flash or something.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, does it run at a faster frame rate in Smite 2? Is it just like the native game frame rate, or like how does that differ? Or is that more of a programming side question?
I think our Flash files were set up at a specific frame rate, and then we couldn't change it for any new Flash files because it would just mess everything up.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we were stuck on that forever.
Yeah.
Forever and ever.
Yeah, you would
Yeah.
get like those really like chunky flipbook animations and you know the old Flash stuff, and you know now obviously we still use flipbook sometimes, I know, but like it just feels like things are smoother. Like even just your cooldown sweeping like is a lot smoother in Smite 2 than it was in Smite 1. So just neat stuff.
Yeah.
So
It's also not just the frame rate. So on Flash, what we did is we would do PNG sequences, but we couldn't have really big files. So we couldn't put all the frames. We would kind of choose the best frames
Your
with
keyframes,
my
yeah.
keyframes and maybe a couple of extra ones that made it look a little bit better. And that's what we had. But now it's completely different. We can animate inside UMG, and we've been using a lot of materials now, which we couldn't do previously.
Just
on
wasn't
UE3.
possible in Smite 1.
Yeah.
yeah, especially like on the stuff that like Saman's been able to do with some like the loading frames.
Yeah, that's
it's just,
amazing.
It's insane, and that's like mostly materials in UMG, I guess, or it's like wizardry of some
Yeah.
sort. I'm not.
It's just crazy, just like material nodes, and he keeps zooming out, and then you see all this web of nodes, and you're like, that's crazy. And he's like, but this is just a little bit, and keeps zooming out, zooming out. It's just really insane.
That's awesome.
That's wild. Well, Emma, we launched God Builder with the latest update, and I know that was a huge undertaking from your team.
Yeah.
So I would love to just kind of give chat an inside look into how we even started the process for making God Builder and what it was like, just because I know it was like a months-long project for you all.
It was really crazy. I think that was on the schedule for like a year.
Yeah, it's been one of those things that like Travis and I have wanted for a long time because we felt like it would be a big improvement to the game, and the community has been asking for some form of God Builder for a long time. Like, I remember when we first started talking about this, there was a lot of discussion about like, do we do the like there was a relatively quick solution, I remember, where it was like we could make it so that like if you go into jungle practice and make a complete build, we could add a button to save that build, and
That was it.
That was it. that was the entire plan. But then to do anything more than that was going to be a lot of work.
Yeah.
And the question was like, how much, like, is it worth doing the extra work to have this level of feature where people can make and share builds and everything? And yeah, it's been it was a lot of planning to get to this point. But yeah. Sorry, go for it. It's been probably about at least a year that we've been talking about this thing. So.
Yeah, I think, like Alex said, we could have done that little easy version, but I think sometimes when we do something small like that, it just stays that way. So we're like, well, we have something that's there, then we can move on to other things and then come back, and then maybe we never come back. So it was a little bit scary to try and go that route. That's why we've been waiting so long. But then to now actually start doing it, it was also very scary. Because our patches now are every 2 weeks. So we started months ago building all of the backend support so that you can save your builds and then you can see other people's builds. We did the work on the gods page, which is easy because everything's in a tab. So you can hide that tab and then no one gets to see it as we're working on it. And then the tricky part was, well, now we need to put it in the item store. And we were like this close of not shipping it, OB9.
Yeah.
Because once we start kind of like destroying the item store, there's no going back.
Yeah.
If we need to go live and we're not done and we already broke half the store, it's like, well, what?
Yeah.
We kind of had to, as a team, kind of take a gamble on, are we far enough that we could just go full in the item store and make it by the time we go live. And I think we kind of did.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and I think that like we've gotten, on the show at least, we've gotten pretty overwhelmingly positive feedback around, to the feature being in the game, right? Like we've gotten a lot of little notes about ways that, things that could be better, like to navigate, or, people want the copy 2 feature that we've talked about that is still on the schedule for, I think, OB10 now. I don't think
Let's say 10, 11.
Okay, somewhere around there. And I know there's going to be some more improvements that are on the schedule for the next.
Yeah, we've talked about it before. I think I had it on the list. Just some of the other stuff that we're thinking about for the item store. Of course, making sure that we can get it implemented to work with auto build and auto level. Of course, the copy to feature that you called out. Another thing that the community's given us feedback on is just being able to search.
Yep.
And that is something that's on our list as well. So, now that we've gotten into the game, it's a lot easier for us to, take a little bit of time
Yeah.
and get all those features in that are requested from the community.
I did write it down. So the auto buy, the auto level, that should be for next patch, or at least the first phase of it. And then we do have the search, but it's going to be a little bit wonky when it first comes out because it's not instant. So if you're typing something, you need to press search. So that
Yeah. It
because
doesn't like auto-populate as you type.
yeah, because we need to go request from the backend, so we need to have like the full thing
makes
you're
sense.
searching. Same thing with the filters. If you're just clicking them on and off, we don't want to like keep requesting like filter it, don't filter it.
Yeah.
So you would need to like put your filters, type the thing, and then search. And then we'll try to make it a little bit more smooth, but we just want to just get little improvements, even if they're not fully all the way
Yeah.
complete.
No, and I think that's like the right strategy, right? It's like, I think that's kind of the way that we're building this game, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, every 2 weeks the game gets a little bit better, and maybe we don't have the perfect finished version of what we want, but we're getting a little bit closer to it every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And I think that like one of the other good things about this feature too is that, or the way we're doing it is that, like, we shipped something that wasn't done, but that kind of gives us the ability to take feedback from people on how they want it to be different, how they want it to be better, and make changes before we went in and we're like, here's 8 weeks of polish on a feature,
We're not going back.
Yeah, right? Like you were saying, right? Like, because I think that it's when there's so much to get done, because there's a huge backlog of things we want to do on the UI side, right?
Yeah.
Like it's very easy to reach the point where like it's good enough. This was a finished feature. We're moving on, right? Versus this is intentionally an unfinished feature. Let's get some feedback. Let's continue to polish it, and then once we think it is good enough, then we will move on, right? There will always be a point where you move on, but I think that it's just like it's a slightly different, more community-centric way of
For sure.
developing, and hopefully the community appreciates it. So we tried.
Absolutely. Well, I asked about it yesterday just because we had it on Titan Talk Wednesday. I just thought it would be cool to kind of share the fun little nugget. Someone on Wednesday asked if we had a way to see what gods had the most amount of community created builds. So I spent a little bit of time with our DB team and our data team, and I'm just gonna talk up through.
Was my guess correct?
List through the top 10. So chat, let's see here the top 10 gods that have.
Are you gonna start at 10 or start at 1?
Ooh, I'll start at 10. That's
Okay,
good.
more fun.
Yeah, the top 10 gods, starting with 10, that have the most community-created builds. All right, number 10 is Cerberus.
Mm-hmm.
Number 9 is Aphrodite.
Okay.
8 is Nuwa. 7 is Artemis. 6 is Anubis.
Okay.
5 is Neith.
Mm.
4 is Izanami. 3 is Kukulkan. 2 is Poseidon. And number 1 is Kali by like a lot.
Yeah. That was my guess, that Kali was number 1 by a lot because she is the new one, right? And so, and I think that what you see kind of drives that number is how popular a god is, right? Because the more people that play the god are going to want to make a build for the god. And then the other thing is like the more diverse build paths. If you have like Kali has at least 3 viable builds,
Yes.
right? Int may just be the best right now, but there are other ways to build her, right? Neith, you can build Neith a lot of different ways, right? And I think that like that can impact the number of builds that are created, because if a god is both popular and they have 3 different builds, then a person might create 3 builds for that god,
That's true,
right?
yeah.
So, and people are like, Izanami at 4, it's kind of strange. Izanami has always been one of the most popular gods in the game. And that was what, like chat was really upset when we announced she was coming to Smite 2 early-ish, you know? And we're like, she is
super
incredibly
popular.
popular. So you might not see her in like high-level ranked as much, which I think shapes a lot of perception, because most people watch like high-level ranked on Twitch, and a lot of, maybe you think you're a ranked player or you play a lot of ranked, like you get a lot of that kind of vibe. But Izanami is just always insanely popular. So
She's got a couple of viable build paths as well.
Yes,
You can go
yes.
basic attack or full on intelligence. for ability damage. But yeah, interesting fact for y'all, chat. I thought it was cool. It was a good
Yeah.
question on Wednesday, and I wanted to follow up on it. Um, let's continue on our UI discussion. Emma, we had a really great question on Wednesday about like how do we decide what happens into the
Oh.
game, and I feel like we've talked about it a lot, but UI is a huge part of Smite, right? Like almost every feature, anything that goes into the game has a UI element that goes along
Yeah.
with it. And since you all are always so busy, I'm curious, how do you all go about prioritizing what's on the list that you all want to do? How do you all prioritize feedback that comes in from the community on requested features and stuff like that?
I think first we prioritize what would be our must ships. So that's usually related to the god. So if we are having a new god, we need to get the ability icons, the passive meter. Some gods might have like health bar treatments or extra things that we need to make sure we have in the patch. Then we would need to go on to must have features. So if we have a new wandering market, we need to make sure all of the assets are there, all of the images, things work well. And then any extra time, first we need to put out any fires. So we would fix all of the crit bugs, any big issues, and then we just have a couple of days left before we have to ship again, which is not a lot. So usually the way that we do it is we try to find what is small enough that we can finish during that period of time, or what can we break into pieces. So maybe it's not the full thing, but you can do the first part and then the second part and then the third part, or what would be a longer arc of work, but we just keep hidden or try to keep hidden
Try to keep it in.
the best that we can while we work on it if it's not going to disturb any other systems. And I think that's a lot of just like mostly talking with you and Travis, like these are your 5 options, like
Yeah.
what do we do?
Yeah, and it's so we, as chat knows, we moved to a new building, and now Travis and I we
Oh,
sit
no.
together, and Emma sits like one wall away from us, and Travis and I used to just be like locked in our own room, and we just like would, I don't want to say argue with each other all day, but we have discussions about like, hey, I had this idea, is this important, is this really worth thinking about, and we kind of historically like, I don't know, just like bounce things off of each other a lot in terms of like, is this even worth bringing up right now? But now Emma sits right next to us, so sometimes we're just like kind of bullshitting about a UI feature, like is this something that we should think about putting on the calendar? And Emma pops over and she's like, what are you guys talking about?
Right.
Are you making more work for me? Like, and it's great. Like, I think that's one of the good things about the new office is that like you can be there from the early parts of the discussion and like tell us
Stop
we're
it.
crazy. Yeah, stop it, right? Or you can tell us like, oh no, that's actually really easy and I could do that in a couple hours or whatever, right? And so I think that I think it's been nice having you closer. So
Yeah.
that, from my perspective at least, I don't know if you've liked being closer to us, but it's been a nice situation. So
Sweet. Well, let's kind of talk about since UI is has so much going on.
Yeah.
I did want to, since you're on the show, Emma, like give chat just a little bit of a look into some of the things that you all are thinking about feature wise on the UI front. We're not going to give out like any hard release dates, but like I did
Yeah.
want to take the opportunity to just talk about some of the things and improvements that we're thinking about on the UI side for Smite 2 in the next few months.
I think a lot first of all is going to be God Builder because that was very big. So
Yeah.
we're definitely not done with that. Then the next one after that that has me very excited is just polishing our whole experience after a match. So we've always wanted to do on Smite 1 animations, which we couldn't do because just
Yeah.
no.
Flash.
do you remember? I'm gonna take you on a tangent here real quick.
Okay.
Do you remember we had that complete like animated chest opening presentation that somebody had mocked up at some point in time?
Yeah.
And we like tried to implement it, and it was like a 2 gigabyte file or something, and there was no way we could possibly do it.
Yeah.
We were so restricted on having anything animated in Smite 1. Anyway, that just popped into my head, and I was like, man, do you remember that? That was some
Yeah.
shit. Anyway.
Exactly that. We had After Effects prototypes like chest opening sequences, or what we're gonna try to do now is at the end of your match, like maybe you level up your rank. We've always wanted to have that whole sequence of like you have your rank badge and then it explodes and then
Yeah.
you have effects and then the new one. Um,
Celebrate
gets-
your success.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yes,
really going over that end of match lobby, right? And just like pizzazzing it up a little bit and like making the end of the match feel like an achievement, right?
Yeah, we've always wanted to do that, and now we don't need to do PNG sequences. We have materials in U5, we have timelines. We can finally start to do all of that work. It's going to be a long arc of work, but I think it is worth it.
Yep.
And we
I
can
agree.
finally do it.
Yeah, I think that like one of the things we were talking about the other day was like it's one of the things that's good about end of match lobby experiences is that they celebrate your performance and the things you did well and the progress that you are making in a way that even if like you had a rough game, you know, whether it was a close loss or somebody on your team wasn't that nice to you or whatever it was, at the end of the game you can at least look back and be like, well, at least like I played well. I you know, look at me. I got like an assist trophy and I made progress and I got some more Wandering Market coins. Well, that was still worth it, right?
Yeah.
And I think that like without that, it can be sometimes even more frustrating when you have a bad match, you know? So I think that it's not just a nice thing to have, but I think it's just like really helpful, like to smooth out some of the like everybody knows MOBAs have a lot of like really high highs. When you have a great MOBA game, it's like it's like crack, dude. It's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
it's so good. It's like another round, you know.
Yeah.
And when you have a rough game, it's like I never want to touch this game again, you know. And it's like, but if you're like I never want to touch this game again, but man, I actually played pretty good and I got some good progress. All right, I'll play another game, right? Like that just feels a lot better. So anyway.
Yeah, and maybe like you finish a Wandering Market quest, so your game ends and you have an explosion of coins. You're
Yeah.
like, well, look, I have a bunch of coins.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah, at least I got something out of it, right?
Right.
So yeah.
So we talked about God Builder. Sorry.
Yeah,
go ahead.
no, go for it. So
Yeah, I was gonna say we talked about God Builder improvements. Talked a little bit about how we're kind of looking at the end of match lobby experience from the UI side to kind of make it a little bit more cool and a little bit more of a celebration. I've got a couple things on my notes. We're gonna continue doing events. We talked about the Easter event at the top of the show, but we've got another event planned for next week, I believe, that starts on Monday.
Yes.
And then I believe we've got another event for Mother's Day coming up, which is super fun. And I'm curious, Emma, what goes into like the events pages? Because the event pages in Smite 2 versus Smite 1, lots more interactions, lots more text, and lots more quests and stuff that go into those events that we've been doing. You all have been doing lots of cool stuff. What kind of goes into the event page process?
Yeah, I think it comes back to getting the power
Yeah.
to add text to stuff. I think a lot of the work on the single events page we have right now is India. She's driving a lot of that. So UI set up this like scene where game design can do whatever they want as long as there is no interaction. So you would notice our events page, you cannot really click stuff and see stuff happen. But as long as we keep it that way, we can use our quests to generate progress and show. We've been leaning on a lot of conversations because that's the easiest thing we can show without any interaction. And I think that's very fun because in Smite 1 we had a lot of quest systems, but nothing that was so ongoing. Like the way we do it now is we finish an event and then the next one and the next one. And I think we kind of want to lean on this to bring back some of the lore.
Yeah.
Because in Smite 1, we had those huge lore pages we would do every patch. We would have, at some point, we were making illustrations about the lore. I don't know if you remember, like Persephone and King Arthur and all of that. And we've been missing it. So we are trying to find ways to bring back, maybe it's not the full story the same way we used to, but just some flavor of like, who are these gods? Like, do they get along? What do they like? What are they doing?
Just bringing back
On
some of that
Mother's
god
Day.
interaction.
Yeah.
Like the sun versus moon event was really cool. How you had like all the moon gods and the sun gods. It was kind of like a versus kind of thing. I really love those. And like for Mother's Day in Smite 1, it would have been like, hey, get 3 first wins of the day and you get an avatar. You might have gotten a JSON panel to advertise. But like in Smite 2, we're going to have this full kind of themed event page. And it's a lot more interactive, which is really cool.
Yeah, and I think like just go back to the lore bit. Like one of the things that is kind of core to Smite's lore right, is that it's not just the Mayan gods versus the Norse gods. Like the gods don't like align on their pantheon backgrounds, right? It's the interesting part about Smite's lore is how like gods with different interests interact across pantheons, right? So it's like it would make sense for all the sun gods and all the moon gods to work together because there's some fight over something, right? Like that fits in the Smite lore. And I think that any opportunity we get to explore like that cross pantheon shared interests, like to me that's the heart of Smite's lore. I know we haven't done a lot yet for Smite 2 because we just had other priorities, like let's be real, but I think that like it sets the stage for great future things. So
sweet. Well, I think that was everything that I had on my notes.
Was there anything else you want to tease?
Anything else you want to tease on the UI front that you all are thinking about or working on?
Well, there's one thing we were talking about yesterday.
Oh, yes. There was something we were talking about yesterday. I'm down to tease it if you want to.
And, well, another of those things.
Okay. There's multiple things we were talking about. Yeah, go. Whatever you want to tease, go for it.
And that thing fit just the amount of days that we still have left.
Okay.
So we will be bringing the mastery badges with the progress circles. So whenever you're on draft lobby, you'll be able to see your mastery level and a little progress bar.
Oh, nice. Yeah, we've had a lot of people asking about that.
So if you want to prioritize and play with like maybe one more match and you just like 5% away from that mastery level, you'll now be able to have that information both on your draft lobby and in your gods page.
Yeah, having the progress bar is really cool because we didn't even have that in Smite 1.
No, in Smite 1, it was just you had an icon once you got to level 1, level 5, and level 10. So until you hit level 1, you didn't even realize there was something to be working towards there, right? So I think that like it's really cool that you guys were able to get that in, and I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it.
I didn't even know about that.
Surprise.
Yeah,
surprise.
And I know something else that Lino, who is the UI programmer, kind of the other side of the UI house, was able to get in, is that I believe should be in this next update. Is chat notifications when items are purchased. So if you like in Smite 1, if somebody buys a ward, it tells the whole lobby like Kilgoon bought a ward, right? And there's also like if you bought any items that your team might want to play around, right? So like Talisman of Purification or something like that. So that should be back in this next update, and if not, it'll be in the update after. So just another fun UI feature that Emma specifically didn't work on, but is in that same wheelhouse.
Really
so
cool.
Yeah.
Sweet. Well, I think I've covered everything on my list. We've got about just 20 minutes left in the show, so it's Friday show. Let's kind of hang out with chat, take some questions. Chat, if you have any questions about upcoming content, anything on the UI feature-wise, what the UI process looks like for Smite 2. We've got Emma here. We're hanging out. Oh, Kilgoon, you almost party foul.
Not
almost
the cherry
spilled my
twist,
wine.
man. I have this is a good question, and I actually don't know the answer for this about you.
Which one?
But are you a gamer, and do any games like inspire you or the team for UI ideas?
I play simulation games.
Okay.
I did play a lot of League, like 10 years of League.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But that phase is over.
You're like, that era of my life is done.
Like, that's done. I do play a lot of sim games which are not very inspiring for Smite UI. We do rely a lot on other MOBAs because there aren't that many. Mm-hmm. So it's good to do things that are similar to other MOBA games because it's more likely that MOBA players from other games will consider trying Smite.
Yes.
So we wouldn't want things to feel completely different in a game that's already very hard to learn.
Mm-hmm.
So
if we try and keep things consistent with like other MOBAs, it will just make transitioning a little bit easier.
Cool. Good answer. Let's see. I will answer this question. And so how is the friends list and party UI coming along? My understanding is that Rally Here is doing a lot of that work, correct?
Yes.
So Rally Here is the people that run our multiplayer backend, right? So they actually are the people that run the code that makes parties work and whatnot. Over the last few updates, we have had back-end updates to that screen and some UI improvements. But they're going to kind of keep working on that in the background. I think we are not getting any more improvements in the next update, if I remember our meeting yesterday correctly.
Not, I don't think so. But it's mostly we're not changing the way the friends and party system looks. It's just trying to fix a lot of the jankiness
Yeah.
with things that we already have.
Are you going to fix where the Xbox controller vibrates like crazy at the character select screen? So that is it's intended, but I think it might be a little bit too much.
A little bit too aggressive.
So we found that having the controller vibrate really helps people understand. Oh, I need to pay attention to the game, right? And it's my turn to pick. And when we didn't have this, which we didn't for a long time in Smite 2. We found that console was missing a lot of cues because they just I don't know, you're talking with your buddy, you're getting a drink or whatever. But if you hear your controller vibrate on your table, you're like, oh shit, I gotta go do something, right? So we do think that it's a valuable feature. I think it's just too much right now. And I think that in general, our force feedback, haptic vibration, whatever you want to call it, implementation, could be a lot better on controller right now. I think that it's kind of rudimentary. It's better than nothing, but it's not at the same level as most modern games. So that's one thing that's on our to-do list. It's not an immediate to-do list, but it is something that we would like to be better. Yeah. So,
okay, Tiamat needing to be added to the game aside, can we get Tiamat's Mother's Day icon from Smite 1 as a badge for Mother's Day? It's my favorite icon ever made. So I would say probably not for this Mother's Day. I believe we already have a reward planned for that event, which I believe, don't hold me to it, chat, subject to change, I believe is a global emote for the Mother's Day event. But who knows, maybe in the future we could bring back that badge. I guess, Emma, how easy is it to, take a badge from Smite 1 and bring it into Smite 2?
It's kind of easy, but I think, was it an avatar that Tiamat was?
I think, yeah, so because it was an avatar, there is some work to change it, I guess, right?
Yeah, badges are a little bit smaller than avatars, but I think it should be fine.
Yeah. So yeah, maybe in the future, I'll take a mental note for next Mother's Day, and maybe we can get that Tiamat badge into Smite 2.
Chat's rolling now.
I know, right?
Let's see. There was this one. This is just a bug report that we got on the last show, and I will mention it again here. That titles don't always display above God's heads, even though the setting to show them is on. So that is something that we passed along internally, and we'll take a look at. Yep. Don't know if it's going to be fixed for the next update, but we are aware of that. So thank you.
Yep.
There's one here that we talked about recently about titles not showing up.
Oh yeah.
I think that's a weird one because we haven't seen that on our side. I would say check because there is a setting to hide the titles. Maybe that got activated or deactivated by mistake.
Yeah.
And if it's still happening, then we can take a look.
Yeah, we can take a look. I was talking with the Caps Lock about it yesterday, and I believe he was going to try and get people to play around with those settings for the playtest, but this morning's playtest got delayed, and I think it's happening right now.
Yeah.
Well, it got delayed again until 2.
Okay,
so we'll see. It may start in 17 minutes.
So when the playtest starts at 2, I'll remind people to look at that title setting, and we can hopefully get some more info on
that. This is one that comes up from time to time, and I know nothing about this, so apologies if I'm opening a can of worms. The stars on mastery patches looking wonky. I hear about this a lot. I don't really know anything about it. Is this something you've looked at?
Yes, we've redone that material 3 times, and it just doesn't want to.
It just doesn't want to do it. Okay,
it's different because they go in a circle in Smite 2 versus in Smite 1 they just follow the outline of the square, right? And I know you all have been.
But I think it sometimes works.
Yeah, I think it sometimes does. Maybe it's certain numbers are break cases or something. That's true. I don't know. We should probably take a look at that again because Jack keeps bugging us about it. But again, if we've got 8,000 UI things we want to do, is it do we fix this icon
or do we spend some time on in-match lobby or
Yeah.
God Builder features and stuff like that? Yeah.
Oh, this is another one that comes up a lot that maybe is a good one. Can you talk about the difficulty to add an equip to all button for borders and jump stamps and whatnot?
Yes. So that, in theory, sounds like a good idea.
Yes, it does.
But in practice, it's not that easy. Because let's say you have everything, you have all of your gods set up the way you like. And then you get a new frame, and then you do equip all, and it overrides everything. and now you're mad because you need to go back to every single god and just add those things. And I think it is also very valuable at the beginning when you don't have anything equipped, because everything you get is kind of new and you just want to fill your god roster. But once you have most things equipped, equipping all becomes more of a hassle than an actual good feature. So to do that, we would actually need to make some kind of system where you can say like mass equip, and then you would need like a pop-up and say which gods do you want to equip it to, and then we might need to even tell you like these are empty, these already have frames, you already have this frame here, like are you sure you want to override it? So or it sounds easy, but I think it causes more frustrations if we don't do it right.
Yes, I can see
very
that.
True.
Like the only other way, I don't know, I don't think through this problem because I hadn't really thought about it until you just described it. But like, you could have like a super equip kind of thing where it's like this won't be overridden by equip all button.
Yeah, like you need to start locking what you don't want to change,
locking it,
and then it's just a hassle to manage.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah. That makes sense.
Question for Emma: what's the proudest thing that you've ever done for the Smite UI during your time here at Hi-Res?
I'd say it was when I first joined Smite was when we decided to go on Switch. So I think that was a really fun learning experience because we had to redo the entire UI of the game because it would not, texts were too small. So we couldn't use the handheld. You couldn't see anything. So we had to redo all of the UI so that everything was bigger. And then another thing that came from doing that is that Smite UI on Smite 1, it was double.
Oh, yes, it was.
For console and PC for a long time.
Yeah, everything we would build, we will build it twice because we have separate flash files for what would work on console and what would work on PC. So since we had to go through all of the hassle of redoing everything on Switch, it was a good time of just like starting to merge those separate flash files, just like have a single one. And I think that was just a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's cool.
One thing that we get from time to time on Titan Talk, but Emma, since you're on, I feel like it's a perfect time. Yeah. Let's talk about HUD themes. Talk to me about the process that goes. I would love to give chat just because Kilgun and I know, but it's hard for us to explain how much work they are and how hard they are to do.
I guess it really depends how much you want your HUD to change. Because it could be like, it's fine, we just like make it green, and then we do a material that takes everything that we have and makes it green. That's kind of fine.
Yeah.
But we were going crazy on Smite 1. Like we were doing this like demon HUD skins, and then everything would be hand painted for every little piece. And then we had to kind of take it out with the new HUD because we wanted to give players the opportunity to move their things around. So if everything was just like painted in a block, you needed to cut it and put it around every asset. And then if you put them together, things should not like overlap in an ugly way. They should like blend in. Yeah. And we do have the HUD editor now, so if we do HUD themes, it needs to follow those rules that as you move things and put them together, it just needs to like blend in nicely.
That does not sound easy.
No, it's not easy. It is a lot of mostly artwork because they need to figure out how to paint everything in a way that it would blend with other assets.
Yeah.
That's good insight.
That is interesting. Yeah.
One day.
Yeah. Can we get an option to turn off the ability upgrade suggestions?
I did.
Okay. There we go. It's done. You're welcome, chat. And we're changing the level up or the arrow shape too, right?
That's the one. Or were you talking about it?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Do we have an option to turn it off completely, or are we just changing the way it looks?
No, I changed it. So that was my bad.
Okay.
I was, I don't know why I was thinking we were going to use it for new players. So I thought like, well, it's fine. It can be like this huge thing because new players have like a million things they're trying to look at. So it's just like on your face, just like click this, keep going. And then I think yesterday or Tuesday, I started to see the reports just like flood in. Like, what is this blue arrow
Yeah.
just like covering all my cooldowns?
I can't see my cooldowns, and I intentionally hold my skills to
Yeah.
level up. Yeah. I was seeing a lot of those.
I was like, oh no, this was not meant to be for everyone. That's fixed.
Yeah.
That's done.
So now it's
No-
like a smaller blue arrow over the skill mana cost, I think, is the way
Yeah.
it looks. Yeah. It looks nice. I saw it in playtest. I thought it was good. So,
Yeah, sorry about that.
I don't know if this is specifically a UI one, but it sometimes VGS opens the chat log, and sometimes it doesn't open the chat log. Is that more of a Lino thing, or is that a
I think he would say global invalidation.
that's the go-to answer for why things don't work.
Global invalidation.
Uh,
I don't know what that is.
yeah.
So we'll just
Yeah, global
Leave it
validation.
there.
Sounds good. This is one that I've seen a couple people ask for recently. Having some kind of a duration meter on wards on your mini map, or like a flash when they're about to expire, so that you know that like your wards are timing out. I've only seen people requesting it for the past week or so. We haven't even talked about this.
did Smite one do that?
Smite one, I think they flashed.
Yeah, I
when
think
they were about
flashed,
to
like, green
expire
or something.
So I think it's just something that we just don't have in the game yet, and we will add it to the backlog because that seems like an obvious feature that we should get
Yeah.
to. It had both. Oh, interesting. Okay. I'll have to review my warding technique
Oh,
from
yeah.
Smite 1. Good reason to play a game of Smite 1 this afternoon, so I can record some video of that. This is a weird one.
I saw a good one and I completely missed it.
So, is there any UI element or feature from Smite 1 that you missed that we don't have in Smite 2? Or you'd like to bring over? Like, it's better than what
That
we
was
have
the
in
one.
Smite
It
2.
was kind of akin to that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what's the top feature, UI feature that you'd like to bring to Smite 2 one
Yeah.
day or something like that?
I think this is not a useful feature,
Okay.
but I do really miss our Smite 1 events,
Yeah. They were really interesting, unique events for sure.
especially the Odyssey.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I feel like our lives revolved around the Odyssey. Like, it was 6 months before it went
Yeah.
live.
Oh, yeah.
It was like, we need to start.
That's good insight.
Preparing
yeah.
for
Just
the Odyssey.
how much time and work went into those big events. Like,
Yeah.
you
Because
said
it was
in-
so long to do
yeah.
anything in
Mhm.
Flash. Like, you guys had to start
Yeah,
on
it
it
took
so
forever.
early.
And then we had this big interactive map that
Yeah.
you could zoom in, and then UI programming would need to do like, if you're on this pyramid and then you move up, then it goes there. But then if you move right or if you move down, you go like everything was like manually programmed through the map. Everything was like hand drawn, like
Yeah.
all of the little cities. Just took us like 6 months
That's
to
crazy.
set up an Odyssey. So we would have like our own countdown of just like, we are 1 month away to having to start to work on the Odyssey.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
it was a
Get
whole
ready.
thing. It's almost Odyssey time.
Isaiah, did you have a feature that came to mind?
Ooh. Not off the top of my head.
Yeah, I would say that the thing that comes to my mind off the top of my head, and there's probably a better answer, is just I feel like the Smite 1 Q screen is just
yeah.
much better than our Smite 2 Q screen. I think like having those like 4 big boxes of what the thing is that you're clicking on, then you go to a separate tab for ranked and
Yeah.
separate tab for customs. I think that like our current screen is just so focused on customs, and we know it's not our final Q screen, but it's just if I could snap my fingers
Right, and just change it. You
move
know?
something over, I think that's
Prioritize the
bothers
modes a little
me
bit better.
right now.
Yeah.
So, did adventures take up a lot of UI time?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question.
Yes. It was, I think the team would say we are on day 2. Like, they would just not go home.
Oh no.
It's like, day 2 starts now.
Oh, that's brutal.
It was a lot of work just from scratch every single time.
And they all came in. I don't want to say that it was like super late, but it was always like kind of hot right before it got to UI even, right? It wasn't like you guys had a lot of time to plan for it.
Yeah, no, it was. I didn't get to do any adventures. Like, I think they died by the time I started working on Smite.
You just heard the horror stories.
Yes, I just heard the horror story, so I'm glad I was not on adventures, to be honest.
Is there a reason why the supporter colored names don't show up in game? My understanding is it's intentional, but in game would be one of the main spots I'd want it to show. So we felt like having the colored names appear over players' heads could be could distract too much from the gameplay, right? Because we don't want to sell a feature like that's supposed to be like kind of this premium thing that is supposed to be really optional, right? That is intrusive in affecting your gameplay in that way. So you can see it like in the chat bar, in the chat window. You can see it in like the tab screen or the damage recap, the T screen, but it doesn't appear over your head intentionally because like we just thought that could mess with the flow of gameplay too much. This is such a bad joke, I gotta say it. Which department in a game studio has the best teamwork, and why is it the U&I department?
Oh my gosh. Is that Brett's Smurf account?
He's on vacation.
Oh,
yeah, he's gone right now. That would be hilarious if Brett was actually John B, who's like in chat all the time. Yeah, you got me.
That's funny.
That's funny.
Let's see here. Any UI improvements planned for the God Select screen? I'd say Smite 1 looks miles better than Smite 2 in that regard. So I know we're adding the mastery icons in progress bars. Anything else for the God Select screen that the UI team has been talking about in terms of additional improvements or features?
There's going to be some improvements, not on the UI, but kind of on the characters.
Cool.
Because I think we're going to be doing some camera adjustments just to make that feel a little bit better.
Nice.
Yeah, the only other thing I can think of that we were talking about, which isn't like a priority, but just something that we've talked about recently, is like currently you have to like click into a god to see anything more than their name and their profile picture, and we were like, maybe it would be a better idea to not show the whole model while you're hovering a god, but give you some more information about like what kind of god this is while you're hovering them. Like in Smite 1, it tells you like this is a warrior who does this kind of damage, like you get a little bit of information when you mouse over. So that's something we've talked about, but probably isn't like a immediate term thing.
Yeah. Does Emma have a favorite god?
I'd say Athena.
Athena's a good one. Yeah. I had a good, it was a few weeks back, but I fun jungle Athena game.
Nice.
So,
did you play Aspect?
No.
Oh, wow.
No. I think that Aspect Athena is just like, I feel like I get myself into trouble more than I have success with it.
But it's fun.
What?
But it's fun.
It is fun. Yeah. I just like, building a bunch of like on hit stuff and making reach amazing.
Yeah.
So I think it's fun. Any update on the chat log? Chat's disappeared too quickly. So there could be two separate things you're talking about here. If you're talking about making the chat window in game appear slightly longer after somebody talks, that's something we've talked about. We can talk again about just like increasing the duration that it stays open after somebody puts in a new text message or whatever. If you're talking about the post-match lobby chat, that the reason why that expires after a minute is because the entire server that hosted your game is tied up continuing to host chat, and we want to basically be able to like unallocate that server and then use it to host somebody else's game. So we don't want to just have like two people sit in chat and we have to leave a server running for 4 hours or whatever. So that's why that one does spin down relatively quickly.
Yep.
Look what time it is, Isaiah.
Oh my goodness, it's
Oh.
1:59.
It's
So it's
time
time
for
for one more question, and we're all gonna pick a question before the end of the show and get back to it.
Yeah.
Last show in
Last
the old
show
room.
in the old
Man,
room.
end of an era.
Yeah.
Last one more question here.
We should have made like a highlight reel.
Yeah, we should have.
like playing like, "Will you remember me?" You know, like it would have been if we had planned better.
I know,
alas.
right?
Alani check time. Cherry twist for me today.
I have got pink slush.
And you have tried the Alani because of the bit. Early review,
Too sweet.
too sweet.
Too
okay.
sweet.
The pink slush, too sweet.
Yes.
Oh, maybe this is a good one. Have any update on what happened to different backgrounds for different gods from different pantheons when in the gods tab? Neith had an Egyptian background in one of the Titan talks, and I know that's something that like we had talked about internally at one point, but I don't know. I don't remember where it all ended up, and I think it was like maybe not the biggest priority, but
Yeah.
but.
Yeah, I think it was just very time consuming. So we were setting up those backgrounds, but that was at the same time we were setting up the home screen 2D backgrounds where we had like Hecate or Bari just like animated.
Oh yeah.
And those are very time consuming. So we decided it would be better to animate the home screen. But now we don't have those. So maybe we could find some resources.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, maybe something we can think about.
Let's see. Is there any chance that we could rework the main UI on console to use a virtual cursor?
I don't think that's as fun as it sounds.
Yeah, I would say like, I think the things that you click on would need to be much bigger for it to work
And
with.
closer.
Yeah.
Or else you're just like
Yeah.
going to
Yeah, I think that like there are some games that approach works on, but I think that like personally, I think that our up, down, left, right navigation
Bumpers for the new
bumpers,
tabs,
yeah, I think that that's just a better approach for our HUD personally. Maybe for the Switch 2 Joy-Con set.
Maybe, I know.
Maybe.
Yeah, we still don't know anything about it. I mean, beyond what y'all know. So, and a question. You get to pick a question. Unless you're overwhelmed, in which case,
so many questions.
I know,
can't-
it's
I
hard
can't-
to keep up with
it's
chat.
just
Especially when we do
moving.
one more question because everyone tries to get their question in.
yeah.
Chat moves.
Biggest Smite 2 UI challenge.
Ooh, that's a good
That's a
one.
good one.
Everything.
I guess starting from scratch, right? It's like, it's tough.
Yeah, when I joined Smite, they already had a good foundation for a lot of things. Even if we tried to rework them, there was something there to like reference and take from, and also learn like, well, we had this for a couple of years. We like this part of it. We don't like this part of it. So you can just like take the best and make it better. But on Smite 2, we kind of have nothing. So we are trying to build everything from scratch
Yeah.
and trying to make it better. But sometimes what we think is better is not really.
Yeah.
So just like going through those lessons as well.
It's a new journey, for sure.
Yep.
Sweet. Well,
Awesome.
Kilgoon, Emma.
I just want to say thanks for coming on the show, Emma.
Absolutely.
I know
you killed it, Emma.
Yeah, you did a great job. I know, like, you're a little nervous about being on, but we really appreciate you coming on, and I think chat really enjoyed it too. So thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, chat, for hanging out with us on a Friday, chilling and talking about Smite 2 UI stuff. Kilgoon, Emma, thanks so much for joining me on the show.
Last day
The
in the
last
old
day
room.
in the old room, the last sign off. But next week, we will be back on Monday from the new room, talking about a new update and a new ported god. Guan Yu joining the battleground next, so should be a really awesome show on Monday.
And
so,
two aspects.
two aspects
and
next week.
A
yeah.
lot of other stuff.
I know. Agni Aspect, I believe, is going live on Monday as well in OB8.
Yep.
So lots of stuff to look forward to on Monday. So should be a really awesome start of the week next week. But until then, hope everyone has a great weekend. We will see you all on the battleground. Peace.